What's up YouTube, welcome back to another video on my channel Skotrix, and today as you can see we are back not on NBA 2K21 but instead we're going to be back on this chart right here to be ranking all of the best defense badges in NBA 2K21 current gen, and I'm going to be ranking them on this chart from S category, which is going to be the best, all the way down to F category, which is obviously going to be the worst. But before we get into the rankings right here, I just want to mention really quickly, if y'all have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you click that subscribe button. Only about 2% of people who watch my videos are actually subbed to my channel, so if you click that subscribe button right now, you can join the 2% gang. I really appreciate it. Helps out a lot. And also I stream on Twitch, so make sure you go follow me on Twitch if you enjoy watching live streams. The link to that will be down in the description below as well. But yeah, with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get right into the video here. Alright, so the first badge we're going to be going over is going to be Trapper, and I'm going to put Trapper all the way down into the F category. I think this is a pretty bad badge. I really don't see the point to use it in any situation. Basically what it does obviously is helps you trap opponents. If you and another player get them into a corner or something, it's pretty much going to guarantee that they turn over the ball, but it doesn't really have much of a use considering you would need to have this badge on, and you would probably need a teammate to have this badge on as well to get the most effectiveness out of it. And honestly, there's so many better defense badges that it's really never worth investing into this because it's such a specific badge that you'll almost never use. So I really don't recommend Trapper as a good defense badge for any build at all. That's why it's in the F category right there. Then next up we have Tireless Defender. I'm going to put Tireless Defender into the C category. This is actually a pretty good badge for like a guard or a wing that has to defend a dribbler. This will be a good badge to get onto maybe like silver or gold, and it'll help you obviously keep your stamina up while you're defending that player, while you're chasing them around the court. So Tireless Defender is a C category badge. It's a mid category badge. I would recommend it for guards mostly, and really only if you're playing on ball. If you're playing off ball, you really don't need this badge, and if you're a big man, you really don't need it either because big men do not use that much stamina. So yeah, that's Tireless Defender. Next up right here we have Rebound Chaser, and I'm going to put Rebound Chaser into the S category. I think this is definitely a top tier badge. Rebound Chaser is really good. Obviously it helps you get rebounds, which is like super important, one of the most important things in the game. And if you're a big man or a wing or anything like that, you're definitely going to want Rebound Chaser. Even if you're a guard, you might want to consider getting it if you have a high rebound rating. So yeah, that's all the way up in the S tier. Definitely a must get badge for any big man build, and again, some guard builds. Now next up right here we have Rim Protector, and I'm going to put Rim Protector into the A category. This is a pretty good badge. It's not amazing, it's not an S category badge, but it is pretty good. If you have at least, I would say, 10 or so defense badges, 10 to 15 defense badges on a big man, then you're definitely going to want to invest into Rebound or Rim Protector. And it also might be a badge that you would want for some pure lockdown guards that have a really high block rating, but other than that, I think it's mostly a big man badge, and it's definitely one of the better big man badges in the entire game. And then next up right here we have Lightning Reflexes. Lightning Reflexes I'm going to put all the way down to the F tier. I really don't recommend this under any circumstances. It's a completely useless badge. Do not put on Lightning Reflexes, trust me. Completely useless badge, just ignore that. Then we have Post Move Lockdown. I'm going to put Post Move Lockdown into the E category. This is also a pretty bad badge, not completely useless, but pretty much right above being completely useless. And it's not because this badge is absolutely terrible. It does have its place in the game when you're playing against post scorers. If you know you're about to play against a post scorer, I would actually recommend putting this badge on. And it's not because this badge is absolutely terrible. It does actually have its place in the game when you're guarding post scorers. Is basically the only situation where I would use this badge. So if you know you're going to be going up against a post scorer in your next game, maybe you can consider putting on this badge, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend it because you're not going to go up against post scorers that often. And when you do, you can still guard them without this badge. So I think for an overall badge setup for any build, this is not something that you'll have to include, but it does have its place in the game if you know you're going to be going up against a post scorer. So that's Post Move Lockdown right there. Then next up we have Pogo Stick. I'm going to put Pogo Stick into the B category. It could even go into the A category. It is a pretty good badge. I recommend it for pretty much any big man build because it is really helpful, especially if you don't have as much discipline on staying down when you're in the paint. It really will help you out. If you jump for a block and it ends up just being a pump fake shot, it will help you recover and jump again, or if they do go up right after you jump, it will help you recover and be able to get the rebound right after. So it is a pretty useful badge for big men. It's worth it for basically any big man that has enough badge points to get it, but I wouldn't really recommend it for guards. You don't really need it if you're a guard in my opinion. There's so many better badges for guards. So it's going to go in the B category right here, slightly above average badge. It is pretty good. So that's Pogo Stick right there. Next up we have Pickpocket, and I'm going to put Pickpocket into the D category right here. And I know a lot of people probably think this deserves to be higher, but in my opinion, this is honestly kind of generous. It's really between the D and the E category right here. And the reason I rank it right here is because the effect that Pickpocket has this year really is not that good. It doesn't help you get that many more on-ball steals. What it does help you with is get less fouls when you're reaching for the ball. So that's cool. You can kind of spam the reach button a little bit more when you have this badge on, but you really won't notice that you're getting a ton more on-ball steals. So it's a D category badge right here, below average. The only build I would really recommend Pickpocket for would be a lockdown guard or wing that has like at least 20 to 30 defense badges, and you can obviously afford to get this because you'll be able to get every other good defense badge above it. So that's where I would really recommend it. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend Pickpocket for any build. But next up right here we have Pick Dodger, and I'm actually going to put Pick Dodger into the A category. I think this is one of the better badges in the game. I know some people say it does nothing, but in my opinion it does do enough. Honestly, this is one of the best badges in the game just because you do not want to be getting stuck up on screens and making your big man come up to help, especially in this game when everybody has slashing big man, and if your big man comes up even a couple inches to help, their big man's just going to cut to the rim and catch a lob. So you really want to have Pick Dodger so that you can get through those screens and you don't have to get your big man to come up and help. It is super important, and I would recommend it for basically any guard. For big man you don't really need it, but for any guard you're definitely going to want to invest into Pick Dodger. And next up right here we have Off Ball Pest. I'm going to put Off Ball Pest into the F category. I really don't recommend this badge for anybody. I mean, it's kind of cool to use sometimes, I guess, but the actual practical benefit of this badge just isn't there to worth investing defense badges into it. So I put it in the F category. I say don't put it on, and I think most people would agree. I almost never see people using Off-Ball Pest, so that's the F category badge right there. Next up right here we have Intimidator, and I'm going to put Intimidator into the S category. I think this is a really good badge, and I think it has a lot of value for any build, any position, anything like that. So Intimidator is going into the S category right here. I would basically recommend it for anybody. As long as you have a few defense badges, you should definitely get Intimidator as high as you possibly can. And next up right here we have Interceptor. I'm going to put Interceptor into the B category. This is a good badge, not amazing, not an S or an A tier badge, but it is a good badge. If you have at least like 15 defense badges, I would definitely recommend at least considering putting on Interceptor. It is a really good badge for getting passing lane steals, and the higher you get it, the better it is. So I recommend getting it at least onto Gold or Hall of Fame, and you will notice that you'll get more passing lane steals. Obviously it's not going to make you insane at it, you'll still miss some, but it will help out a significant amount. So I definitely recommend Interceptor as a pretty good badge right there. Next up we have Heart Crusher. I'm going to put Heart Crusher into the A category. This is a very good badge in NBA 2K21 current gen. You can change all of the momentum of a game with one block or one steal when you have this badge equipped, and really all you need it onto is silver to get good effects from it. If you have a lot of defense badges, I would recommend for sure getting it onto Hall of Fame, but if you only have a few defense badges, I recommend investing this onto silver, because if you do get a steal or a block with this badge, you really just completely destroy any momentum that your opponent might have had. You'll basically destroy their takeover meter. That's basically gone for sure, and you could even make them cold if they weren't doing much when you get your steal or block. So Heart Crusher is a very good badge. It will mess with the enemy team a lot just for getting a steal or a block. So that's an A category badge right there. Not quite an S category in my opinion, but it is definitely a very useful badge for current gen, especially if you're in the Rec or the Pro-Am. That's where I definitely recommend it, but it's still good in the park and everywhere else. And next up right here we have Defensive Leader. I'm going to put Defensive Leader into the E category. I really don't recommend this. This badge will basically just give your teammates a slight defensive attribute boost for the different tiers that you have it on. So if you have it on Bronze, all of your teammates will receive a +1 defense attribute boost. Silver is +2, Gold is +3, and Hall of Fame is +4. And I really just don't see the value in investing into this. Honestly, I think you're so much better off investing into other attribute points to help your team out playing defense yourself, rather than giving them a slight defensive attribute boost. So I don't really see the point in this badge. The only reason you could put on this badge is if you're like a lockdown with close to 30 defense badges or 30 defense badges, and you're playing in either the 5v5 Pro-Am or the Rec, then you could probably find some value in this badge. But other than that, I really don't recommend it. I don't recommend it for the park. I don't recommend it for any 3v3 game modes or anything like that. So that goes in the E category right there. Next up right here we have Clamps. I'm going to put Clamps into the S category badge. I think this is one of the best badges in the game, and it's super important for any guard, any wing, even a lot of big man builds. You're probably going to want to invest into Clamps because it will help you get a lot more bump animations where the defender or the offensive player won't be able to just dribble by you. You're going to bump them. You're going to either make them pick up the ball or at least lose their momentum in a certain direction. So that's really good. It also gives you like some aim assist on defense, so it will help you stay in front or stay beside the offensive player easier. So I do recommend clamps for pretty much any guard, any wing, and some big men. Super good badge right there, S category for sure. Make sure you put on clamps as soon as you possibly can for your build. And next up right here we have Chase Down Artist. I'm going to put Chase Down Artist into the B category. It is a pretty good badge. It's not amazing. It's not an A or an S tier, and it's slightly above average, so I think the B category is a good spot for it. But if you're a big man who gets a lot of blocks, I would recommend getting Heart Crusher and Rebound Chaser over Chase Down Artist for sure. And where Chase Down Artist really sees the most value is honestly in guards and wings, who are going to be getting blown by just a little bit. And if you have a high block rating and you have to chase down badge, even just on bronze, you're going to see a ton more chase down blocks. And obviously the higher you put it onto silver, gold, or Hall of Fame, you're going to get even more. So where I see the most value in this badge is for guards or wings with a decent block rating. You're for sure going to want to invest into this. Otherwise, it's not too important for other builds. It's not too important for big men, and it's probably not too important for a guard that doesn't have the block rating upgraded, because you're not going to be able to get blocks anyways. So that's why it's a B category badge right here. Decent badge, not amazing, definitely not terrible. So a B category right there. Next up right here we have Brick Wall. I'm going to put Brick Wall into the A category. This is a good badge. Obviously, if you're setting a lot of screens, you're going to want to invest into Brick Wall as high as possible. If you're not, you can ignore it. It's a pretty self-explanatory badge. People are probably going to know whether they need it or not, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it is a good badge. I will recommend it for anybody who does set screens. And next up right here we have Box. I'm going to put Box into the C category, and a lot of people are probably going to think this is pretty low for Box, but honestly you don't really need it to get rebounds. You don't really need it to box out. The most important thing when boxing out is position, and if you have good position you will be able to get most rebounds. But with that being said, I do recommend Box on any big man build that has at least like 15, 16, 17 defense badges. Just put Box onto bronze because it will help out a little bit, but you don't need it to get rebounds. So that's why it's a C category badge, and obviously I don't recommend it for guards or even really wings. And next up right here we have Worm. I'm also going to put Worm into the C category, which might surprise people, but I do think Worm is even with Box right here, because like I said, you don't need Box to be able to box out, but if somebody has Worm and you're trying to box them out, you're going to have a tough time. Whether you have the box badge or not, you're going to have a tough time boxing out somebody with Worm, and I really don't see anybody using Worm. If more people did use Worm, then that would probably push up the box out badge honestly quite a bit higher, but I don't see people using Worms, so I don't know. I honestly think that you can get a distinct advantage over most people on rebounds by just putting Worm onto bronze. You'll notice that you'll get around people a lot more. You don't even need to push any buttons, you don't need to do anything, you'll just go around people's box outs. So it is a good badge, and I recommend just putting it onto bronze for any big man build that wants to see themselves get more rebounds. And then next up right here we have Moving Truck. I'm going to put Moving Truck into the D category just because we only have one badge in the D category, but it is really between the D and the E category right here. Moving Truck isn't a super essential badge. I don't recommend it for most builds. Honestly, if you're a big man build, you should not be getting back down in the post that much, and if you're a guard, obviously you don't need it. But for big men, you really should not need it in most situations. Again, it's similar to post move lockdowns, where the only time you're really going to need this is when you're going up against a post scorer who's trying to back you down, or if you have really low strength for some reason, then you might need it as well. But mostly it's just going to be for going against post scorers, and for that you don't really need this badge. It will help, but you don't need it to be able to guard post scorers consistently. So yeah, it goes in the D category. Definitely a below average badge right there. Not super terrible. It's not an F category badge, but it's definitely below average. And yeah, that's actually going to be the last defense badge for NBA 2K21 current gen. So this is going to be my final ranking right here. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, and why you agree or disagree with my ranking. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say, and also like I said, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're new, because only 2% of people who watch my videos are subbed to my channel. So if you click that subscribe button right now, you can join the 2% gang. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And I also stream on Twitch. My Twitch link will be down in the description below. Make sure you go follow me over there if you watch live streams. But yeah, that's going to be it. Make sure you go check out my finishing, shooting, and playmaking videos from the last 3 days. And yeah, alright. Peace.